Hi everyone! Today I'm going to make a pencil version of the riverbank landscape that I painted in watercolor in my last video. Let's see how the same scene changes when you focus on texture instead of color. It's been a hot minute since I posted. Life kind of got in the way. But I'm back and I'm excited to share with you this artistic experiment where I revisit the same landscape in a different medium. Here's the link to the watercolor video, in case you missed it. I'm going to be using my painting as a reference. You see it here on the left. I had this idea that it might be cool to create a diptych, the same image done in two different mediums. But the watercolor version is super bright and colorful. So to make sure the pencil drawing can hold its own, I'm going for strong contrast, deep blacks, bright whites, and nice crisp lines. I want it to feel really sharp and defined, kind of like the opposite of watercolor, where everything tends to be soft and blended. I mentioned in my previous video that while I love watercolor, I can't always be 100% confident in my skill with it. I'm sure there are artists on the internet who can reliably make every single painting that they touch look perfect. But I think that with watercolors, there is an inherent element of playfulness and experimentation that makes it just too unpredictable. What does feel reliable to me, though, is pencil. Pencil is my comfort zone. It's my medium of choice. It behaves exactly as I intended to. So there's nothing that gets in the way of the connection between my eye, my hand, and the page. It's such a versatile tool, too. You can vary line thickness and darkness by varying pressure. You can create a wide range of tones, from light grays to deep blacks. You can create gradients. Pencils are amazing for textures because they offer precision for fine details. And it's easy to correct or lighten things up with an eraser. Plus, pencils are so affordable. This little box of 6 fancy pencils cost me $7. That's about the price of one tiny watercolor tube. Alright, let's talk about the drawing itself. I started with the riverbank and the trees in the background. I decided to leave the sky white. I thought that it would be nice if it faded out into the white of the paper and blended into the frame. Then I moved on to the tree canopies. I'm using soft pencils which smudge very easily. So I always start from the top left and work my way down. That way I'm not dragging my hand over what I've already drawn. Then I did a whole bunch of vertical lines for the trunks. Then I drew the stones in the middle ground. They're some of the darkest parts of the drawing, and they're very satisfying to draw. But the stones are lying on the grass, so I made sure to leave the grass in front of the stones white. It's kind of like drawing negative space around bunches of grass. Then I moved on to the water. There is a bit of a gradient transition in the water between the light reflections of the grassy bank, the dark reflections of the trees, and the light water that will get progressively darker towards the foreground. And this gradient is not smooth but rippled. I'm keeping in mind that the ripples get smaller with distance. I think that water is always quite fun to draw, and again, it's quite difficult to screw it up because it always looks different in nature. And then there's the foreground. I drew the boat and its reflection in the water. This is the darkest part of the drawing. By now you can probably tell that I'm not into smudging the graphite. It's just personal preference. You can usually get darker and more even tones if you do smudge. But I like building up tones with layers of hatching instead. I kind of love it when you can see the white of the paper between the marks. It keeps everything looking crisp and intentional. I feel like this way I'm maximizing the benefits of a graphite pencil over charcoal, for example. Pencil offers precision, so why not use it? But again, it's just personal preference. Now I'm finishing a few details in the foreground. At this point, it's always good to take a couple of steps back and look at the drawing from the distance. I always find things that I didn't notice up close. Alright, I'm satisfied. And here's the final result. Both the watercolor and the pencil versions, matted and framed side by side. What do you think? Which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Happy drawing, and I'll see you next time. Bye!